Okay, the last stream ended due to connection issues. Hopefully this one works. Hey, hey yo. All right. Alrighty. Oh, the space bar? No, never mind. We're back. We're back. We are so back. We are so back. We're so back. We're so back. We're so back. I don't even know what to say. Hey yo. How's life post-graduation? Amazing. It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's all going to plan. It's the same as before in the existential level of riding the wave. But I've been focusing on creative projects, focusing on freelancing, a lot of freelancing videography. So that's fun. Kind of balancing my whole artist journey, you know, getting those different spheres in. And yeah, it's just a lot of creating. The hustle continues, the work continues, you know. I'm really excited on my next film project that I'm working on. It's a feature film, very Charlie Kaufman inspired. If you guys know Charlie Kaufman, one of my favorite writers, directors, he's incredible. I feel like his style of film, I've never seen a style like it. Similar in terms of experimental and confusing, but his touch, it's magical. It's like Tarkovsky. It's like if Tarkovsky had a Disney animated kind of personality. In some ways. Connection's crystal clear. Good. Nice. We worked. The plan is working. Let's go. Yes. Amazing. Hey, Imogen, how you doing? How's everyone doing? I hope everyone is doing incredible. Listen, we talked a little bit on the last live stream, so let's just on the last live stream as in the live stream like 10 minutes ago. Also, apologies for missing last week's live stream. I totally forgot to update you guys in the community tab as I cannot hold that live stream. So apologies for any inconvenience, anyone who showed up and I was not there. My deepest apologies. I totally forgot to put that in the community tab. So this week actually is going to be week. Is this week 3 or week 4? We're going to go into the question of reflection. If you guys thought about your answer between last week and this week, if not, all good. Let's answer it. We can talk about it now. I have my answer, so I'm happy to talk. But yeah, JDO was the one who ever so graciously, thank you, JDO, who prompted this week's question of reflection. And that question is 2 questions. There's 2 questions, and we can answer both of them. The first one was, for those of you who have been a part of this workshop, this course. Oh, yeah, whatever. For those of you who have been a part of these last few live streams, this workshop, have you seen a growth within yourself with your project? Have you seen any growth with you as an artist, as a person, in regards to your project, working on your project, getting your project done? I know I have, so I would like to put that questions out there to you. And again, that's JDO's question. So thank you, JDO. Big thank you to JDO in the chat for prompting that question last week. So the question is, I'll put it here in the chat. Have you seen a growth within yourself and progress with your project? So I will say for me, I definitely have, in regards to something specific that comes up. By the way, this week is week 4. This is week 4. Wow, already 4 weeks. That's awesome, guys. That's awesome. I remember the first one in my bedroom basement. It was just yesterday, week 1. But yeah, now we're in week 4. That's awesome. So here's the question of reflection. I'll answer it first. I'll be the first one to answer, and then you guys open up the discussion. I'd like to see your guys' answers in the chat, please. Have you seen a growth within yourself and progress with your project? For me, so I believe it was week 2 or week 3. I think it was in between week 2 and week 3 that we started to become more conscious on how we were using our phones and our devices, temptation, discipline, mindless consumption. That specific week really worked wonders for me. Ever since then, I haven't really caught myself scrolling, and it's been absolutely incredible. The feeling is just, it's like a weight lifted off my shoulders, because I've always tried to be conscious of that before in the past. And I've always, I've talked about it all the time on my channel because I think it's relevant for artists, for us artists and creatives. Nonetheless, I still struggle with it, as a lot of us do, because it is so it is so intentionally designed to keep us addicted, these devices, and they're so powerful, and they're within our proximity everywhere we go, and we depend a lot on them for basic tasks and how to function as a society as a citizen in this society. And that's why it can be very draining, is because it feels like it's against our will. Like we don't want to, but it's very addictive, and we kind of stay stuck there. Specifically between week 2 and 3, when we started to have that discussion about being very conscious on how we're using the phones and how we're using devices, and making sure that we're not mindlessly consuming, content and scrolling, and keeping us zoomed into these devices and these screens. I've noticed a huge change within me that specific week. We said, we had the discussion, stop the impulse. When you notice the impulse happen, when you go to the device or the phone for no reason, for nothing, like no intention, like, oh, I'm going to check here for this specific thing, just that it's an impulse, then you have to stop in that moment. I was doing a lot of that between week 2 and 3, and I noticed that change sustained since then. So yeah, again, like I don't remember the last time I scrolled. Like I don't remember the last time I sat down and scrolled, like on Instagram or anything. YouTube still, I notice the impulse come with YouTube, where I'll go on the homepage and I'll start scrolling through videos. Again, it's not inherently a bad thing, but I think it's a bad thing if you're not going like intentionally. If it's just an impulse where it's just like, all right, when you're on the laptop, you go to YouTube and then open it up, go on the homepage. I think that's a generally unhealthy and bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing to go on YouTube and go on the homepage and watch videos, but when it's done mindlessly and impulsively, I think that can be very dangerous. So that's something I have noticed myself doing still the past couple of weeks, but I stopped myself when I noticed it. Sometimes you don't even notice it until it's like 10 minutes in. You're like, wait, what am I doing? That's how powerful it is. So that's a huge change I've noticed within myself. So what do you guys, what changes have you guys noticed? And brainstorm and really think about it. And even if it's not a change, notice what's something that you guys have placed more attention on in growing these past couple of weeks with these projects, with you as an artist and with you as a person. JDO says, for me and my stories, I truly have got progress in style of music, the settings of the story, and even rewriting the third story of Just Our Stories. But in narration of the fifth story of Just Our Stories, I've gotten minor progress in narration, dialogue. Kind of get nervous to try to continue it. Nice. That's good to hear. Developing the artistic voice, progress in the style of music, the settings, and the story. Good. Listen, it's going to get better as you do, as you create. You have to do and you have to create. So are you creating every day? Are you making sure that you get progress on your projects and on your stories? You're developing your voice through creating and through doing. And I love to hear that. And that's how we have to do it. That's how it gets done. You can't see that change. You can't see your creative voice come to life unless you do, unless you act, unless you actually create. So that step must be done if you want to see that. So very happy to hear that, JDO. Only logged into IG twice, maybe for 5 minutes. Nice. Yeah, the screen time. Check your guys' screen times. You might be shocked. Yeah, might be. It's funny how it's like it's not even like very common. It's just like kind of the standard for everyone. If you're human, then it's like relevant to you. It's very rare to find someone who's like totally off of it. But yeah, that's why we gotta become conscious of it. You want to become that. You want to become the person for yourself in your life where you have control over these things, over these temptations, and you have discipline. You can actually moderate the things that come into your life, and the things that you're consuming. It's the same with everything, with food, and through images, through media, anything that you consume. You have to be able to control what you're taking in. And any area where you notice that it's mindless and it's impulsive, you have to give attention to that. You have to bring consciousness into there. Consciousness is, I relate that with willpower. Ultimately, that's willpower. You have to bring willpower into that and actually choose for yourself. How are you deciding to consume? How are you deciding to engage in this area in your life, in this activity? You don't want to live a life. You don't want to live a prolonged life where you are not in control, where you're not in control of these things and in your consumption. And again, like that, it's little changes, little wins here that really make up the kind of the bigger change and the bigger picture. But just this like small win every day of like at the end of the day, okay, I notice myself like controlling my impulse to go on social media, or my impulse to consume content, or my impulse to scroll or go on the device or be on the screen. If I can control that, then that's great. Because I already spend a lot of time on my laptop, on my screen, editing. I do a lot of editing and I do a lot of mixing on my laptop. And if I'm already spending so much time on the screen, why would I want to spend more time on the screen where it's mindless and impulsive? Then that's just hours of screen time. And that's away from, it reminds me of, if you guys have seen Lord of the Rings, the part in the Lord of the Rings where he's like, the world is not in your books and maps, it's out there. And that's so true. That's exactly what it is. The world is not in an Instagram reel, in a YouTube video, in the screen, in this content that you're mindlessly consuming. The world's not there. The world's out there. The world is out there. So again, for me, like that thought doesn't sit well with me, spending even more screen time than I already am with the work that I have to do. Let's see what Kurt, what did you say? Definitely getting better with my social media. I feel still need to work on stopping and getting to work. I'm like a harvester for creativity. Once I get inspired by something, I sap all the creative juice and dopamine out of it, and then it gets fed into my subconscious for later inspiration to focus on working with what I've already got stored. Nice. Nice. Yeah, you have to become conscious of these little waves and phases and kind of, yeah, the waves of the day, the waves of the creativity, and being able to consciously cultivate that. When you have energy and creative energy to work on something, then you do that, and you spend time on it and you work. But then everyone needs to rest, and you need to have productive rest. Ultimately, I think that everything that we do should be productive. Every single decision, everything that we do should be productive for our lives. And you may hear that, but, well, what about rest? Rest is productive. Rest is productive. If you are resting intentionally because you need to gain your energy back, or it's the same thing with sleep, that's a productive decision. Oh, what if I want to have fun, genuine good fun? That's productive. That's productive for your life, because that's productive for your experience of this life. It's still productive. It's not just productive. It's not just like the work you do is productive. Everything should be productive for your life as a whole. So yeah, being able to, the creative juice and dopamine, like exhaust that, and try to make decisions and engage in behaviors that will produce more of that creative energy, so that you have more of it to work with, to use for your projects. And then once that's depleted, you take that rest and recharge. That's why I think at the end of the day, and this is a personal thing, but I think for most people, I think it would be generally good, as opposed to a lot of the common kind of behaviors that we're in, of kind of slumping back, or not taking control of the day. I think at the end of the day, you should really start to, like, in a productive manner, rest and slow down the mind. For me, at least, like 6, 7, 8 p.m., I like to really just, like, take it off the gas pedal, and there's nothing better than a night of sleep after an hour or two of silence, or not doing anything, no screens or whatnot. And yeah, the last few weeks have been a little different, because I've been with my family here at the hospital. We're doing more stuff together, watching the games. I don't know if you guys follow the MLB, the Yankees. We're a big Yankees family. And so right now I'm going with the wind. I'm going with where life's taking me. I wouldn't have known that I was going to be staying in this hospital for the past couple weeks. I wouldn't have known that months ago. And I wasn't supposed to. So you just got to go with where life takes you, and kind of work there. But yeah, ebb and flow with those creative pockets of energy. Didn't get as far as in my novel, but made good progress. Then 3 rough drafts for short stories finished. Nice. Entered a short story contest. Nice, Imogen. I love that. That's very good to hear. That's very, very good to hear. Keep going with it. Momentum is everything. Don't stop. Please don't stop. This is just steps in the progress, or in the journey. You're making good progress. So that's very, very good to hear. I'm happy about that. So it's those wins that count. Keep making that progress in the novel. I have a goal to hit for myself for my script today. I had a goal to, by the end of this week, to finish the first 3 scenes of my feature film. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be, certain for the rest of the drafts. It could change, but at least just to get something down. And I already have ideas, so I'm going to write them out tonight. Yeah, definitely noticed improvements in my confidence these past few weeks, and my planning is getting better. Working with a very large launch project with 5 different phases. Wow, nice. So you're kind of tackling the first phase. How are you going about, I guess, getting that work done? That's really good to hear. Yeah, take that action every day. Take that action every day towards it. This is from the last live stream, reducing screen time. This is something that I noticed. So right now we're answering our question of reflection from last week that JDO proposed, which is, have you seen a growth within yourself and progress within your project? And I was just saying that my change that I've noticed within myself was with the screen addiction, was with getting better with my discipline of not mindlessly consuming content. And that has been a change that it wasn't just that 1 week between week 2 and 3, but I've noticed it last since then, which I'm really, really stoked about. Our screen time use is congruent with peeps who mindlessly watch TV, just handheld entertainment now. I totally agree. Totally 1,000,000% agree. It's the same thing as mindlessly watching TV all day. Maybe older people do that. Maybe younger people like us, we're on our devices. It's the same thing. I think it's interesting. The screen addiction, doom scrolling, I think that addiction, I don't think it brought anything new to the table. The device was new, but the thing that it unlocked within us, or not unlocked, the thing that it activated within us, with us about, just our kind of mindless magnet towards these screens, is not new. It's always been there. That's always been with us, and this device is merely bringing it out of us. So the root, and that goes to show that the root of what's actually at the root of this screen addiction is not modern. It's not something that is new and introduced because of the invention of the iPhone or of the mobile device. If we never got iPhones or these mobile devices, I think that would still be within us. Maybe it wouldn't be as exhausted because we've had time to become addicted to the screens over the past couple decades. But I think that at the root, what that is a part of us that needs to be developed, and we need to develop discipline and control over ourselves and what we're consuming. And the phone kind of exposes that. The invention of the phone exposes that. So it's something that we have to heal within ourselves. And I think I do believe ultimately it has to do with our own disconnection with ourselves and with our lives, because the phone is an escape. The phone, the addiction, it is an escape out of the present moment. And when you're escaping, why are you escaping? Why are you running away? What are you running away from? There's always something there. So that's what's at the root of the addiction, and that's what has to be addressed. And the device it didn't introduce that. It just activated that thing that we always had. And so then it goes to show that it's always something that it's always been, what's the proper grammar for the sentence I'm trying to articulate? It's always been something that it's always been our destiny to overcome this. It's always been something that has had to have been faced. I don't know how to word this, but it's a part of our journey. It's a part of our destiny. Whether it was the phone or some other device or some other piece of technology, it's always been written that we have to face this collectively. Yeah. Fourth short story, almost finished first draft. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Beautiful, beautiful. Everything should be productive. I like that perspective. Yeah. I'm happy that you resonate with that. That's and again, it's not just it's not just the work that should be that is productive. You're not just being productive when you work. You should be productive with everything that you do, with the rest, with the fun, with the work, with your silence, with your experience, with everything that you do. How did you learn how to express your passions and articulate your thoughts so well? That's ironic. As I said, I didn't know how to articulate them. You know what's funny actually about this? How did you learn to express your passions and articulate thoughts so well? I came very close with my soul. I honestly, genuinely, I feel like I came very close with my soul, and my soul does the rest. I think it's the same thing as creativity. You don't need to. The Beatles didn't know songwriting. They don't know how to write. I think they still don't know how to. But at the time they were doing all their records in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, they didn't know how to write or read music. They just felt something in their soul, and then their soul did it for them. Like they followed the feeling. I feel like that's me with my communication. Is I feel very close with my own soul and my own thoughts about the world, and I don't have to worry about the technicals and how to express. I kind of just, because I feel so deeply, it just happens. Again, I think it's the same thing, creativity. Like it's just the soul taking over. That's why I always say that the mind has to catch up to the soul. Something doesn't make sense to the mind, but it makes sense to the soul, and usually it's the right thing. One thing that I've been not liking more than anything is school. I feel like everyone is either a jerk, such a negative space. Everyone's kind of pushing each other around. It can be a toxic environment. It can be a tough environment. That's why we have to. It's a test to keep an open heart and show love. And it's not easy to show love to others when they don't show love to us. But you're not going to. Nothing productive will happen if we don't show love in that space. Marcus Aurelius has a great quote on that. I don't know what it is word for word, but he essentially says like the people, before going about the day, starting the day, tell yourself that the people you meet, the people that you see will be arrogant, they will be selfish, they will be rude, and it's because they're going through their own things. That's not to say that you should just assume everyone who you're going to meet throughout the day is just going to be a jerk. But I think it's generally a good attitude to have, that you can expect to come across those people, and maybe sometimes you're that person, and you just don't realize it in some circumstance or another. Everyone's just obviously going through their own thing, and I don't think we don't yet have a really maybe it starts in the household, but I don't think we have a collective culture in how we process those things. Our dominant ideologies in our society are not of the benefit of our own, I don't think, mental health and our own emotional health. So I think that's we don't really know how to deal with it, and then we put it out on other people. So again, like I think generally looking at those things as tests makes it easier to deal with. Maybe not necessarily easier to deal with, but maybe easier to deal with, because I think it's harder to deal with things when you don't see them as tests. That's why we talked about in week one, with problems and challenges that we saw coming up, we asked ourselves, how is this thing an opportunity, instead of seeing like, oh, I'm going to have this problem with my project because of X, Y, and Z. Oh, this is a bad thing. No. It's a problem, but it's not a bad thing. How is this an opportunity? Okay, I'm going to face this issue of X, Y, and Z, and it is a good thing. It is an opportunity for this growth. So how are you seeing things? What's your perspective? What's your framework on it? That's how I try to look at things. There's be so many times where I'm in a great mood and I go about in the world and I come across someone who gives a bad attitude or is mean for nothing. I didn't do anything, and they're being mean or being rude, and I see it immediately as a test. It's a test. It's a test. That has nothing to do with me. They're going through their own thing. That is a result of their own pain, and the more you can just have a love for that person, not tolerate it and promote it and be like, oh, that's okay, that's all right. You respond. You don't react. You respond. I think that's that's how we can use those things to actually upgrade and evolve in real time. Yeah, it's there's a lot of messiness in the world. We have to do our part. We all have to do our part. And the only break you get, which is barely break, is lunch. Yeah, believe me, I remember school too, and I didn't have yeah, I was nowhere. I wasn't as in tune with my soul when I was in high school. I did not like high school. When I was in high school, I didn't. Not that I didn't like it. I enjoyed a lot of parts, but I was on the outskirts. I was on the outskirts, certainly. Yeah, I was definitely a bit isolated. I had my friends, which was good, but you get through it, and you experience exactly what you're meant to experience. Again, I believe that you can't escape the things that are meant for you. No, not everyone is negative. The ones that are spiritually aligned, I just don't see them through all the negative. Yeah. Again, I think it's all the tests, right? Maybe you can JD, what I will say is art is therapy. And I believe that the things we experience in our lives and the stories we have in our lives are meant to go in our art. So if there's something that you can transform from your experiences right now and go into your stories, I think that that's something that, if that resonates, that's something that you're meant to do. Like it's something that we're all meant to do. What is your experience that you're going through right now in your life, where you're at with the people that you know? I can go in your story. I'm reading the Robert Rodriguez's book of when he wrote and directed El Mariachi, and that's something that he did. He used ideas around him in his life that he was going through, and he put it in the script. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm taking inspiration from that book. That's what I'm doing with my feature script right now. I'm looking at my life, even me at the hospital right now, visiting my brother. I'm looking at things that happen every day and like where I'm at, and just trying to put that in my script, because it's meant to be sparking something. I'm meant to be here right now writing the script. I was thinking this too. I'm the same as him, very articulate. Kind of want to read his birth chart, see his rising sign, his mind, his chart really like me. My birthday is July 23rd, 2002. So I know you could do, I think, is that all you need for birth? Oh, and then my birth time, 3:53 p.m., I believe. I believe it's p.m. So birth chart that. Before television, people were chid for reading books too much. Imagine that. Well, yeah, again, so it's that's funny, because Nietzsche actually has something to say on that. When you consume too much, it's like Nietzsche, he actually read a lot of books, so maybe he's the best one to say something on it. But he said that it's not the best to read too much. Orson Welles, a director, also said that with movies, you don't want to watch too much because you want to keep your vision creative and original. So yeah, whatever you're consuming, again, that's why it's like the device isn't necessarily the thing that's given to us. It's activating something in us. Hey, I love your videos. Motivate me to keep going. Oh, thank you, Wonder. I'm happy that the videos have found you. I appreciate your support a lot. That means a lot to me as a creator, and I wish you the best of luck with the work that you're doing right now. I'm happy that it resonates and it helps, and it's meant to show you something. So whatever it shows you, implement that into your work. 7-second dopamine hit scrolling. Yep, it's dopamine. Addiction is new. Yeah, it's dopamine. That's what it is. Yeah, it is dopamine. That's why also, like, oh man, one of the worst things you can do at the beginning of the day is scroll or do high dopamine activity, because then you take away your excitement and happiness and the dopamine that you would naturally get from doing your creative work. So people avoid that at the beginning of the day. Do not engage in high dopamine activities. I would say, unless it's like what I do is I do cold showers at the beginning of the day, 2 minutes cold exposure. Can't do it here at the hospital. They don't have cold water. I don't know why. But when I'm home, cold shower, oh my gosh. I think it does give you dopamine, but that is the type of dopamine where I'm just awake and alert and energized, as opposed to like scrolling in dopamine, or I don't know, watching Netflix, or even like binge eating some kind of like high dopamine snack. I think it's, yeah, again, those things will deplete your, they'll set a certain standard, and then you'll crash, and then your creative work will become harder to do your creative work later. It's also a sign for a disconnection with nature and the world around us too. Yep, exactly. I talked about that in my video, why you keep grabbing that dang phone. That's exactly what I talked about. It's our disconnection with the world around us. If we were truly in tune with our whole being, with our surroundings and nature and the world around us, we wouldn't be scrolling. I don't believe we would. Yeah, like you said, it's a disconnection. Yo, Paul, how you doing? Thank you for the love. Thank you for the love. Thank you for joining the stream. Thank you, everyone, for joining the stream, by the way. Appreciate all you guys. We're going to jump into the week 4, into the week 4 session after I read through the last of these comments. So we'll update on where we're at with our creative projects. I got some nice updates on my creative projects. I'm hitting some goals, which are nice. So you're the guy with the video about you already have your answers. Dude, you've helped me a lot. Like, I remember it randomly came on my suggestion. It was a sign. I'm telling you. That's awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that, and reminded me of that video. That's awesome. That's funny. Yeah, sometimes I forget that video blew up a while ago, and it's probably still on my channel. People still on my channel who subscribed from that video a while ago. Well, I appreciate that comment. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for the support, and I'm happy that video found you and resonated with you, and reminded you that you do indeed have all the answers within, and all you have to do is come close to yourself and your soul. The morning pages is one of the ways that you can do that, but there's so many other ways as well. It's definitely escapism. Many people doom scroll to distract themselves from their lackluster lives. Yep. Exactly. Yes. Indeed. I mean, it's easier to scroll than to think about your life and think about the things that you have to face right now in your life. But you're not escaping it. You're just putting it off. It's kind of like grief. There was a guy who described grief. He said grief doesn't wait. It doesn't wait. Grief will wait. Grief, you can go into an addiction. You can drink. You can smoke. You can do whatever you want to distract yourself. But it will wait for you. It's not going to go anywhere. You can't. You think you're escaping. It's like an illusion of an escape, but you're not actually. It will stay there until you face it head on. And yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, scrolling again, it's like the easiest thing to kind of do, and it's another world. You forget about everything else going on in your life that you have to face. And not that you should be focused on negatives or problems all the time. Not that at all. You should be focused on solutions, and that's why it's easier to go into. It's easier to consume than it is to create. So because we don't have to engage with our creativity, and that's why scrolling is so dangerous for us artists and creatives, because then we exhaust that creative energy. We exhaust it, and we surrender. We give it away for a fleeting moment. That's why we have to be very disciplined, very very stoic and certain in that. We can't give that power up. Can't give that power up to the people up top. Not God. God's way up there, but the people who are pulling the strings, people who are designing these devices. +1 to following the soul's calling. Exactly. Follow the soul's calling. If you follow your soul's calling, you'll be on the right path. You'll be aligned. Of course, there are many other reasons for scrolling. Yeah, there's always scrolling's always going to have its different root issues and reasons. There's a really specific environment that enables creative thinking, and it might sometimes be interrupted by external factors. In my case with schoolwork, I feel like I've been trapped into this box where everything is really practical with a certain methodology, and that has really pulled me from my creative self. What do you think is a good way to break this endless cycle of logical imprisonment? You're talking about in school? Well, yeah, certainly school. That's why school I think kills a lot of school kills creativity, because it gives you a grade. It measures your intelligence based off of how well you are at memorizing certain facts about something that you're not even interested in. So yeah, school is a whole lot of baloney in my eyes. But I mean, you're not in school 24/7, right? So what are you doing with the time that you're out of school? And what can you do then? What can you do at your home, or what can you do out in nature, out in the world? Obviously, you're going to have to do schoolwork. And I believe that our world is like the Matrix, where Neo, he gets plugged out, but he also has to go back into the Matrix in order to take down the agents. So it's kind of like you got to play the game to beat the game. And that's kind of where we find ourselves as humans living in this Blade Runner dystopian society. We kind of, at the end of the day, we have to do certain things. We have to play certain games with this matrix that we live in, with this world that we live in. Us who live in school, ultimately we can drop out in high school, and that's a decision that you can make. You are free to make as an individual. And if that feels right, truly right with your soul, I would say it's a pretty big decision. But if it feels truly right, then you make that. But working with the kind of games that we have to play, you see, what can I control and what can I not control? Something that the individual can't control is, ending school just for everyone all of a sudden. That's not to say that we don't have the power to change that system. I believe we do, and that's something that's in our control, our own individual efforts to lead a life where we're, where we can change the world. But something that is out of our control is the system itself, in relation to the rest of the world and in relation to us right now in this moment. I can't snap my fingers and then just school's gone for everyone. That's not something that's in my control. But what is in my control? Where's my time? Where am I placing my time? And again, that's why scrolling and content and screen addiction is so dangerous for us, is because the way I see it, the real threat that it is on a societal level is, I will say empire. I usually use empire to describe just government in general, and dominant ideologies that are kind of programmed by the string pullers of the world. They control our time, they control our behaviors, they control where we put our time and where we put our labor. And then we have this free time, these pockets of time where we're done with chores, or we're done with work, and we're done with school, we're done with our job, and we have this free time, this downtime, and then we give that precious time that we have away to scrolling, which ultimately is what designed by the same people who are creating these other systems that are creating our time for work and our time for school and whatnot. So then all of our time and all of that stuff then just goes to that bigger system. That's why screen addiction, it takes over, like the precious time that we do have for ourselves. So yeah, I'm not gonna apologize or hold back on that discussion about scrolling, because it is very, very relevant and very important. But I would ask yourself that about your environment. Where are you placing yourself? Where does it feel right to be? And what are you doing when you're outside of school? What can you control ultimately? What's in your control? What's out of your control? And then if I were to just give my own personal recommendation, I would say cultivate an environment and a mindset that resonates with you and resonates at the deepest level. Because the thing that resonates deepest with you is your soul talking to you. For me, something that deeply resonates is going outside into the woods and spending time in silence, bringing a little pocket journal with my notebook. And I get ideas. I hear what my soul wants to do. I come closer to myself. And that's somewhere where I feel like I can be myself and truly embody something powerful in my solitude, and then bring that out to the rest of my life and the rest of the world. Yeah. So what resonates with you? What resonates with your heart? Mr. 303 is bashing you on his channel. Who's Mr. 303? How's it going? Yo, Doobie. How you doing, Doobie? What's up? Hey, how's it going? Sergio, what's up, Sergio? How you doing? How you doing, guys? Someone said, if you think your problem is worse, try singing, and you'll notice that it's even worse than your own problem. It helped a lot, ain't gonna lie. If you think your problem is worse, try singing. You'll notice that it's even worse than your own problem. Oh, like your singing skills? Hey, man, whatever helps. Eventually, once I can afford to, I want to get vocal lessons. Mr. 303 is Jellytown. Is Jellytown of Tozak? What's Jellytown? What is Jellytown? Who's Mr. 303 and what's Jellytown? Jelly on the Door used to be the name of a band that I was a part of. No, I'm kidding. I wasn't really. It was a name that I proposed for my friends, and I just started a band. Jelly on the Door. I think it's kind of catchy. Jelly on the Door. What happened? Someone was making a PBJ or something and got Jelly on the Door, and I was like, oh, Jelly on the Door. Expect that there will be jerks you will face, rude people, and full of disrespect and abominations. It's all said in the Bible. Yes. Yep. That's why you can't worship things of this world. You see these things as bad, so it's an opportunity to share what's good. And that also means that when you see people with love, and that impacts more. It takes effort to love than it does to hate. Just be like Jesus, be bold, and spread the truth message. Thank you, Radio. I love that so much. That's why we can look up to Jesus. We can look up to him and embody who Jesus was. And you are so right. It takes more effort to love than it does to hate, because hating is the kind of default that we found ourselves collectively. So it's easier to succumb to the default than it is to make a new path for yourself, make a new path out of that program, which is to love. It's very hard to love. That's why we have to let go of the parts of ourselves that don't love. Love Robert Rodriguez. My daughter was in one of his latest films. Really? Wow. That's awesome. As what? Like an extra? That is amazing. That's so cool. Yeah, I have to watch more of his films. But El Mariachi was fun. It was nice. It was a fun one. I hope your brother gets well soon. Thank you so much, Wonder. I appreciate that. Yeah, he's healing day by day. He's the doctors and surgeons. I think I said this before in the last stream. They said that patients heal faster when they have more visitors, and that speaks to the truth of love and the soul's presence around you, a soul who loves you. It's all very real, and it makes a difference. And prayers matter as well. So thank you guys for all the prayers as well. Art is massively therapeutic. I agree. It was the thing that helped me to heal from 20 years of complex trauma. So channeling your feelings into your work, therapy, important too, of course, as well as getting in contact with your soul spirituality. Yes, getting closer with your soul, knowing what God wants for you, to give you comfort, and to stop your mind from going to things that are out of your control, and things that your mind shouldn't be focused on, because that's all going to drain and give you more hurt. Yeah, art is crazy. Art is therapy, but art will show you certain lessons that if you listen to them, they will change your life. So many times, whenever I make a piece of art, specifically I think about my short films, they teach me something just crazy, and they just teach me. It's like my soul wanted to give me a message, and it decided to give me this message through this piece of art that I created. Like one of my films, I don't think it's on my channel. As if I made it like my freshman or sophomore year in college. It's called Remote Lucid, about this lucid dreamer who found out that he had powers to change the world through his lucid dreams, but he can only do that once he could escape his room in his dreams. So whenever he went in his dreams, he was locked in his room, and he couldn't find a way to get out of his room, and his whole room's a mess. He's a crazy guy, like all of us, and his room's like a pigsty. It's like completely messy, and he found that once he started cleaning his room in the dream world, he started cleaning his room, then the door started to open. It's kind of this metaphor of you can't change the world unless you change yourself. There was some more things going on there in that message, but just the way that I watched it, and the way that I only realized really what it was saying until when I watched the film. It was like, wow, that's crazy, man. Just art is your soul giving messages, and it makes sense because you're in creativity and art, you're working with your soul, and your soul is creating. And so it's like your soul's like, oh, let me use this as an opportunity to talk to Tommy. You're very wise for your age. You've had a spiritual awakening. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I have had a spiritual awakening. Yeah, a few years ago I did. And I continue to have certain awakenings. Earlier this year, I had I would say a profound awakening of finding God, and knowing who God is, and coming closer to the Bible, and knowing God's plan for me, and knowing how much of in control He is. And that has been the awakening that's resonated, I would say, the most with me, just gaining more clarity on things in my own life. And yeah, I think that we're all here to help each other on this path and on this journey. Nothing I say should be taken for just what it is. It should be an indicator of what you feel at your soul level. So if I say something that feels right and resonates, that's not like, oh yeah, you should worship me and what I'm saying. That's you. That's you recognizing that. What I said, if I said something that you feel right in your heart, and I'm just a mirror, and you know what mirrors do, right? They reflect what's already there. So you're just seeing your own power. You're hearing and seeing something that you already feel deep and true inside in your heart, and I'm just helping you kind of unlock that and activate that. So I think all of us, whatever we learn on this journey, whatever awakenings we go through, whatever we feel at the moment, you know, us sharing that with other people is a part of our past and a part of their past. So that's why we all have to play our part. Play a part, and the more we engage with that, the better we'll make this world. And I think one of the great threats for our race right now is not engaging with our souls and with our hearts, killing time, escaping from time, and kind of seeing our lives in the world as something that can't be changed, kind of just living in our own little bubbles. But yeah, that's very grateful for the spiritual path that I've been on, and so grateful to see and know the things that I see. And the best thing, I feel like the best thing that I can give my world, the best thing that I can give of myself to this world, and just like everyone else, just to be yourself. Because once you're yourself, you'll do the things that feel right, and those things will lead to the outcomes that are meant for you and that are according to God's plan. I believe there's no limits on how wise someone can be. Ourselves in neutral states, pure brilliance and pure genius. Yes, I agree. I totally agree. I think the mind at its default is genius, because the mind at its default and its pure state, its purest form, when the veil is most thin, is in direct communion with the soul. And I have said that before. I think the power of the mind is its ability to align with the power of the soul. So yeah, the mind in its purest form is genius. But looking more into Rick Rubin's book, it's very clear that he's massively in touch with spirit soul. Yeah, it's interesting. Now I want to see more of like exactly what his spiritual views are, or his spiritual beliefs. He definitely believes in the spiritual. He always talks about that, how ideas have their own life, similar things that I talk about. That's why I want to read the rest of his book. I've only read the first couple of chapters, but I need to get it for myself, and then read the whole thing. All addiction is rooted in unhealed trauma. Yeah. Yep. Just on what degree or what level is that trauma? Lately on my walk with God, my journey has gotten to the point where my soul feels like it's at the right place, but God wants me to wait before I progress any further, to test my faith. Patience, my friend. I'm learning that as well right now in its own ways. I'm very happy to hear that you're on your walk with God. Like my momentum was seemingly unstoppable, and over time it slowed down. Like my momentum was seemingly unstoppable. Yeah, it's funny, you know. We make our own plans, but ultimately it's God's plan that takes the crown. I will say, just really quickly, I'll say, as I'm reading that, it's just making me think about my own walk with God. The way I would describe God, who God is to me, and what God has been for me in my life and my walk with God, is it is in terms of spiritually, it's a huge act of letting go. There's a guy, as a content creator, who I really like. It's Tyson something. I really resonate with his content. He talks about a lot of great things, a lot of things that are super important for us to listen to. And he talks about how trusting God, or letting go, is you see a move on a chessboard, that where you can get their piece, and you think that it's a great move, but God knows that it's a trap, because if you take that piece, then they're going to do this move, and then you're going to get checkmated. So then God tells you, don't take that piece, and you're like, why not? It's right there. It's out in the open. He says, don't take that piece. Just wait. And so you don't, and then you do what God tells you to do, and then you avoid that trap. And that's, for me, that's what I think, that's a lot of what following God is for me, and how God has been in my life. It's a huge act of just letting go, of just focusing on the things that I can control, and doing what feels best, and not following a particular rule just because it's something I heard somewhere else. Ultimately, whatever God tells me, my intuition, is what I will follow, no matter what. So that is because, and knowing that God knows so much more than me, that is ultimately that's what following God has been for me. It's a huge act of letting go, and in that, it can sound scary to let go, but it's actually brought the most comfort ever that I've ever experienced in my life. So much comfort, so much. I can wake up and I can walk in the morning, have a beautiful walk in my neighborhood, and just look at what's around me. The trees, the sun, the clouds, the beautiful moon in the daytime sky, and just realize, like, wow, I have nothing to worry about, because God's in control of all these things. I don't have to worry about how this certain job's going to pan out, how, how my music's going to pan out, how my film's going to pan out, how my content's going to pan out. And even like, it's the hardest things to sacrifice, but it must be done, right? It's ultimately giving your loved ones to God, and realizing that their destinies are also in God's hands. And because you can, the people who you love and the things that you love, they're safer in God's hands than they are in yours. So when you give it to God, you ultimately give them in your mind and in your heart in the best place that they can be. So it's that big act of letting go. And then once you let go, then you can actually place your mental and spiritual energy on the things that matter, the things that actually need your attention, the work that God wants you to do. Go within to escape the distraction of imprisonment. 5 minutes a day, try. Yep. Your lips are dry, drink water. Yes. I know. Oh, that's you, Mom? Is that you? I thought that was your username. That's so funny. Yeah, I know. My lips are very dry. I was drinking a lot of water every day at the house, but now I've been at the hospital a lot. And yeah, I know. I need to drink the cold water. I don't like drinking the cold water. I like drinking room temp, but I guess that's all we have at the hospital. So yeah, you're right. Thank you, Mom. Thank you for the reminder. I appreciate it. Love you. I'll drink that water after this live stream. Nature and writing homework at coffee shops, free time. Yep, there you go. Just trying to have some fun with music. I've been having trouble getting drums going. I find I do the same thing sometimes, so I'm going back through old projects that I didn't finish and using those. Doobie, can you do me a favor? Can you, after this live stream or whenever you want to, watch the video on YouTube? I believe it's called The Beatles' Work Ethic is Insane. Something like that, about their work ethic. And if you've seen it, rewatch it. I watched that a few days ago, and it's just absolutely incredible, their workflow and how productive the Beatles were able to do, because they got out of their own way. Thought is the killer of flow, and what they did is they just flowed, and they just created, and their mindset was just get the work done, just get it done. Don't overthink it. Don't spend hours working on this one drum or this one snare. And they were able to just go and follow the feeling, and maybe it's easier said than done, but maybe not. Maybe it is as easy as said done. Maybe we make it more complicated in our minds than it has to be. But the Beatles, their work ethic is very inspiring for me, and something that I'm taking note of. And it's just doing, it's just creating, and once you can commit to actually finishing projects as opposed to starting them and then having them on the back burner for months and years, and you see you reach a new level, and that's what I'm trying to get at with my music right now. That's what I'm trying to cultivate right now. Carl Jung quote regarding addiction, screen addiction: people will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own soul. I love that. That embodies screen addiction for sure. That embodies screen addiction so well. I'm going to write that down. That's awesome. I've heard that quote before. Carl Jung, that's what Carl Jung is. Yeah, he's awesome. Jellytown means jealous. Jealous. Uh-oh. Jealousy is a dangerous thing. I'm in grad school right now. I've learned to detach myself from grades and GPAs. As someone who used to have to be all about academic achievement, that is a huge 180 for me. Wow. That's really good, because I think, the more we place in our own mind our own value on those things and those exterior things, it can bog us down, and it can definitely impact our own self-power and what we believe we're capable of. So I'm happy to hear that. She played Young, Minnie, and Hypnotic. It didn't get the best reviews, but I don't care. It was fun. We had a blast. Ben Affleck played her dad. What? Really? That is amazing. Wow. Were you on the set at all? That's incredible. That is amazing to hear. Is your daughter still acting? I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna see. I'll look into the into the movie. That's so awesome. That is incredible. Hey, maybe she'll be in my film one day. Ben Affleck was her dad. That's awesome. Your subconscious soul spirit guides talk to you through your art. I think you're drawn to Jung talks about this in archetypes, how you have an inner creative guidance force that knows more than you, etc. Yep. Exactly. Looking back at how much school used to me, looking back at how much school used to be, it's crazy. Being a higher achiever literally defined my self-worth and used to be my identity. Thank God for growth and progress. Nice. Good. It was something that you were meant to grow out of, but I'm sure that a lot of the things that were able to you were able to achieve while in school are still indicative of strengths that you have as a person, as a creative, as a learner. It's just about intentionally harnessing that, and yeah, not giving that to a system just for the system's sake or the label's sake. I'm happy to hear that. What you resonate with is just a mirror of your true self. Exactly. That's what I believe. At least that's what I believe. Authenticity is our mission. Yep, authenticity. Yep, being ourselves, being who we're always meant to be. Rick Rubin's book is pure gold. I know. I will get to it. When the time is right. Finally graduate too, so I can get a breath. Thought of school ending for me is my Roman Empire. It's so funny. Yeah. Breath of fresh air will feel amazing. I'll give it a watch. I always appreciate a source of information, especially with someone who knows what I'm conveying. Yeah, definitely give it a watch. I think you'll resonate with some things in there. For sure. I love that video. Have you read? I keep seeing a ton of quotes from it on socials. Everything definitely resonates. I feel like he has an extremely good grasp on that. Spirit subconscious creativity works. Got to be on set with her. Super cool. She's still acting. Very little. Her name is Anna Neves. She would be honored to be in one of your films. Oh, that's amazing. Wow. Yeah, no, definitely. I think that'd be great. Do you guys live in the States? You guys on the East Coast? Or I'm located on the East Coast. She's very little now. She's 10. Gotcha. Reading it now. Nice. Oh, Austin, Texas. Wow. All the way out there. Hey, if I ever come out there and make a film, definitely hit you guys up. She'd be honored to be in one of my films. I'd be honored to have her in the film. I want to move to the East Coast. I like it out here. I want to travel the world, but right now I'm happy living here because this is where God wants me. Love to be in Tozak film in general. Who sounds excited? Man, it would be cool if we can get like a film shoot together somehow. Coordinate that. Get you guys in a scene or something. That'd be nice. Okay. So guys, let's go into the questions for this week briefly, just so we can, get in touch with this workshop and we can stay productive with our projects, because our projects need care. And this is ultimately one of the great parts of our lives, great parts of our artist's journey. So let's kick into this gear. Let's think about the creative project that we're working with right now. For me, again, I've been using my music as a big part of my creative project for these workshops. So whatever you're working on, I know people are writing stories, people have projects. Kurt, you got a huge project in the works. So let's think about it. And let's tune into the goal that we had for last week, which is actually 2 weeks ago. And if we hit it or not, and what the difficulties were in terms of either reaching it or not reaching it. So let's just have a little discussion now. How you guys doing with your weekly goals? How did you do with last week's goal? For me, my goal was select the vocals for In the Morning. So that was my 1 week goal, was for In the Morning is my single, my song that I'm working on right now. And I wanted to select all the vocals that I wanted to use from all the takes. I hit that goal out of the ballpark because I actually did more than that. I finished my first full mix. It's a rough mix. Maybe just some basic mastering has to be done, but all the vocals are selected and more. I've done all the effects that I want to do and essentially mixed a lot, like most of it out with volume and whatnot. Again, just the master is needed really. And then the song is done, which is super exciting because my first single came out during the summer. So it's been a while. I've been working on this one for a while, but it's mostly had to do in the recording the vocals kind of section. Something interesting actually. So I told you guys that I face a lot of resistance with mixing my vocals after I recorded them, I faced a crazy amount of resistance. I genuinely didn't want to do it. It was a different type of resistance. I just did not feel like, I was like, I don't want to mix them. I don't feel like it. And it was because I actually didn't like how the vocals came out. I wasn't given a good performance. I didn't give a performance that meant something to me. Just felt like a chore. But then I got more into it the next vocal session. I realized that I was like, you know what, the reason, because I showed it to a friend, he listened, he was like, I feel like you could be doing more. And I was like, you know what, that resonates. I agree. So then I re-recorded the vocals and I felt a lot better about it. And then I went to mix them. And then there was still something that felt off about it. I couldn't really describe it. It was just like something wasn't clicking. And then what I did is I took away the drums in the song. And now it's more like mellow. Now it's more like stripped back. And I just love it. The song means something entirely different. And that's just something that I can realize, something that I'm learning right now to you guys. Something small there, like less is more, you know? But if you feel some kind of resistance towards a project, something that's like deeper and something that's just like a lack of desire to work on it, then there's probably something in the project that you have to change. Maybe you're not as passionate about, you know, for me, the song, it was the way I recorded the vocals or the way these drums were in the song. I had to take them out. So if there's like a deep resistance there, it might be indicative of something that you need to change within the project rather than just forcing yourself to work. Because if I just forced myself to work, then I would have kept the vocal, or I would have kept those vocals and kept the drums, and it just wouldn't have come out something that I like. But yeah, so that was my goal. I hit the goal really well. The one goal that I'm stagnating on right now, and it was boggling me a bit, and actually goes in the same thing I'm talking about now, is finish my final lyrics for my movie song. And this is also something that I've been facing resistance with the past couple of weeks. You guys have known that this has been a goal for me the past few weeks of, you know, finishing these lyrics, but I just didn't have a desire to work towards them. But then last night and the nights before, I was singing the melody in my head for the lyrics, and I just didn't like it. I realized, like, wow, actually, I don't like the melody for the verses. I like the melody for the chorus, but the melody for the verses I don't really like it anymore. I kind of liked it at the time, but not anymore. And the fact that I don't like it, it makes sense that I would then have resistance. My soul has resistance to writing lyrics for the song. Why would I want to write lyrics if I don't like the melody? So then I changed the melody last night. I thought of something new, and now we're gonna go and write lyrics and see if something changes. But yeah, that's something that I'm really learning right now in my process of writing music. If you're facing resistance with a creative project, with your artwork, and it's like a deep resistance, there might be something about the project you have to change. Maybe there's something that your soul doesn't like. There's something that your soul's like, nah, before we do this, there's something that I don't like, something I want to change. There's a character I want to get rid of. I want to re-record these vocals. I want to do something different. Listen to that stuff. And it's different. It's different than, you know, like the resistance of, you know, fear or ego. It's like a different type. It's like my soul giving me the resistance as opposed to the mind giving me the resistance. But yeah, maybe if that's something that resonates with you guys, it's something that I'm learning, so I feel like it's worth sharing. Yeah, maybe you guys can relate. You got a place to stay with us if you ever come out. Oh, thank you, Imogen. I appreciate that a lot. Wow. Thank you. I take that to heart, and I'll hold you to that. If I go out there. I got a friend who lives in McAllen, Texas, so more at the southern border. If I'm going out to Austin, definitely hit you guys up. That'd be amazing. I appreciate that a lot. My goal was to finish all my first drafts, current projects, minus my novel, obviously. Nice. Did you hit it? I think you did. I think you mentioned that before. When you know something is off, you know. Definitely can suddenly click when you stay in flow and play around. Yeah, exactly. It's like knowing when something is off. Like, yeah. I'm going to write that down, actually. I love that. Know when, something that I'm learning. I'm just writing it like something that I'm learning. I'm learning this now. Oh, no, my pen. I'll write it down in my digital notes and write it in my journal once I get another pen. Learning when something is off. Yeah, that's what I've been learning. Like, when is something off? When something is off, you just don't feel like working on it. Like, you genuinely don't feel. Yeah. It's interesting how there's different types of resistance that you face as an artist. Hello, friend. How you doing? Football is the best. Football. I would say for me, football is the best. Football. Soccer is my favorite sport. American football's fun. But suddenly you get a boost mode after clicks, renewed interest. Yeah, and that's what happened with me when I changed it. It was a renewed energy and interest. Not exactly. Gas Factor POV is still incomplete due to struggles of fear to continue it because I really want to get a resonating brawl scene and the lack of solitude and breaks. JD, did you do the what happened to the direction that you want to take your story? Are you still doing that you've mentioned last live stream? And keep writing every day. Because if you like set a timeline for yourself, ideas just come. Because you kind of set the idea, you set the story like, oh, I want to do this, and then the story just writes itself. The ideas come to you, and it's timing. Because you're telling yourself, okay, I'm working on this project. You keep writing every day. That's what I would do. And how are you guys doing with your obstacles that you're facing? How are we doing with the obstacles? How was our performance with these obstacles? Your own individual obstacle that you face. For me, my obstacle is trying to stay disciplined on one song. And for me, it's that the lyrics for the movie song is just like, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle these past few weeks to kind of stay disciplined on it. But now that I am kind of learning and seeing this, as you're saying, Kurt, knowing when something is off. Now that I see this, I'm going to be able to use this tool. This is like a tool now that I have. Like when I have this like deep resistance, there's something off about the project, and I know that there's something that has to change. So now that I have this awareness, and I can try and act on it the best I can when it comes up again. And yeah. So now I haven't written lyrics for the movie in like 3 weeks, which is, gotta do better. So I'm gonna set that as a goal, starting on when I get back into my work week on Monday, because Sunday's my rest day with family. Monday, I'm gonna get back to it. Now that I've changed the melody, if I write lyrics and something still's not clicking, then I will go to it and change something in the melody. Yo, Tim, how you doing? How you doing, bro? What's up? How are you, bro? How you doing? Doing something that hasn't really been done before, so I struggled to set a goal the other week. I've just been feeling it out on how I should do things. Feeling it out, yeah. That's what you have to do. You have to feel things around. That's the best thing you could do, is do what feels best at the time. Truly get the direction, though. I just gotta have patience in writing so I can truly meet that vision. Thinking about individual obstacles that we face as artists. And, it's funny because there's so many different solutions. There's so many different, methods we can go about facing the creative blocks that we get. And there's, again, the same thing with rules. There's not like a single rule that you can really follow every time because it's always different. Things always change. The important thing with us creatives and artists is that we do what feels best. It all comes down to doing what feels best. If you're facing an issue with your creative project, then you have to tune into yourself and see, okay, what is the best way to go about this? And then action, discipline, action, acting on that idea, acting on that thought, And that is the best thing that we can do as artists in this journey with our work. That's the best we can do, is do what feels best given what we're facing. So if you're struggling with something that you're facing right now with your project, what do you think is the best way to go about that? How do you do something that is aligned with your soul, aligned with what your soul wants to do, and then you act on it? I really think that that's what this is all about. Problems and solutions with this work. Neighbor was yakking. The last 5 minutes, we'll be talking about our own individual obstacles with our projects. And just stay focused is my main priority at the moment. Kurt, is it focused on like productivity focus of like just staying disciplined to work on the thing with distractions? My obstacle is trying to write lyrics or poetry in English. Every time I try to put forward an idea, it comes really generalized, resulting in a really cheesy cliche product, an idea. You know what's interesting about that? I actually saw David Bowie said John Lennon was so good at writing lyrics because his philosophy was just write what you mean and then write a melody to it. You don't have to write anything fancy or poetic. Now, it's not to say that, you should write generic or kind of like obvious lyrics, but I will say that as long, again, with the rules, you should only follow a rule if you resonate with it. For me, at least, like obvious lyrics or general lyrics, not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it can be really good, and only make it a thing for yourself in your own lyrics to avoid generalized lyrics if you genuinely don't like that. But don't just do it because there's this idea out there that, lyrics need to be genius, they need to be super poetic, they need to be super complicated. Again, what do you like? Tune into what you like. And, if that's what you like, then good. Then that's the reason to do what you're doing as a creative. But yeah, for me at least, like whatever the lyric sounds like, if it's super abstract or if it's super obvious and cliche, if it feels right, if I like it, then it doesn't matter to me. But yeah, just make sure it's something that you like. I'm doing good, Tim. I'm doing good. I'm here at the hospital with my brother, with the fam. We're chilling, we're vibing, we're straight vibing. And yeah, it's been nice here. It's been very nice. Rick Rubin stresses that play is one of the most important things. As you've mentioned many times, it's tapping into that childlike state of pure creativity, higher self. Yeah, that's why you have to have fun. It's an indicator that the creative spirit is at work. If you have fun with the work, you will make the best work. You have to make it limitless. You can't constrain it. You can't constrain the work. You have to tap into that fun aspect of it. Also trying to pick up journaling again, because I haven't had the courage to write my unfiltered thoughts. Yeah, what's so funny about that, actually? That's a thing, because in journaling, one of the great things is that you can be very honest with yourself. But even then, when you're journaling, there's some things that you don't want to write down. There's some things that you want to hide from yourself. And the other day, I was in the forest. I was journaling. I was writing. And then I started just writing down a bunch of things that I think I should do. And they were things that I've been thinking about the past weeks or months, or even longer, that I just haven't wanted to face because it's just the amount of challenge that it brings on. But then I just wrote them all in my notebook, and I realized, like, wow, like if I face all of these things and actually act on them, wow, the amount of evolution that will take place. And so now that I wrote them down concretely, I know that the things that I have to have a different attitude towards in my life. Things about whether it's work in my life or people or a whole array of things. It's written down. I can be truly vulnerable and honest with myself. Yeah. When you act with that courage, you actually activate a new level of seeing more things. Because then you enter a new territory and you start to see more of that territory take shape in your life. Try staying in that state for maximum creativity. Yeah, discipline, limit distractions. Yeah. Something that helps me with distractions is bringing it back very simple. Just setting a time block for this hour. During this time, I'm just shutting off my phone, putting everything else away, and I'm just working. I just do this. I just have to do this. That's it. Makes it very simple, as opposed to like at some point I have to get to this. Oh, I'm so tired. My body. Why am I tired? I think I got 7 or 8 hours of sleep last night. Oh, the night before I got like 5 hours. No, 3 to 5 hours. I was with my brother because I was with him. I slept the night with him. and we couldn't fall back asleep. We woke up at like 3:30. We just could not fall back asleep. So we just started hanging out. Probably have to sleep a little longer tonight, maybe catch up a bit. Make progress every day. That's what we have to do. That's what we gotta do, baby. I love being poetic, though. Love my diversity. Real deep thought time in the smallest details. Taking your ring as a sign to release silver and black rings as an option for my launch. Ooh, nice. Definitely. I love this ring. This is a ring I got from friends, but family that is basically a part of my own family. It has a Bible verse inscripted, John 16:33. I have overcome the world. You will be scattered to your own devices. You will face tribulation, but take heart, take courage. I have overcome the world. And that's what Jesus tells his disciples before he leaves them. Just remembrance that everything is already done. Everything is already written. You don't have to worry about tomorrow. All you have to do is focus on the day and the moment. Remember that every obstacle has already been overcome by Jesus. It's a great reminder to have on my index finger. And even if I miss this ring one day, that truth stays in my heart. Love complication, but also want to be clear from the start to end. Yeah, it's funny. The feature film that I'm writing, I want it to be confusing, and I want it to stump the audience. That's something I talked about with the film director that I interviewed. The videos on my channel, Andre Silva, with his short film, Revelation to the Disembodied. It was about that idea in like filmmaking. When you make something that stumps the viewer, you put them in a headspace where anything's possible, and you start to think of more creative interpretations. And he compares it to the stars at night. When things are darker, you can see so much further in the dark. At daytime, you can see up above, you can see, the clouds, but that's really it. But when it's night and there's less light and it's darker and it's harder to see things, you actually can see farther. And that's because when you're in situations in your life where things are dark and things are lost and things aren't as clear, it forces you to engage a new level. Whether that's having to solve something or become stronger, whatever that means to you. But I just love that idea so much. And that's why I want to make a script that stumps the audience. Love from India. Thank you. Love to India as well. Thank you for joining the stream. I got a lot of people from India. I love to see it. We'll do some fun event when I go to India at some point. I will go there. Challenge yourself. Sometimes I'm too ambitious for my own good, but I know that going big will pay off. Yep. You have to. You get this one life. Signature ring, baby. Big star. Just sibling things, hanging out late at night with no sleep. Yep. That's true. Yeah, that's very true. Sometimes you gotta embrace those moments for what they are. And that's why, again, like, you have all the routine and discipline in check, but intuition transcends all. If something feels right in the moment, then do that. For me at the time, I think it was productive to have that fun time with my brother than to stay strict with my sleep. Thanks for sharing that quote. When you said the world, I just thought about the world tarot card, which is the final part of the Fool's Journey about wholeness, completion, and the journey. Yep. Final points of a major arc of transformation, euphoria at getting something done. Yep, exactly. And that world is always within you. That world is always the reality. Always, 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 bro. It's always. And you can't forget that, You cannot forget that. That is with you the whole way of the journey. Speaking of films, The Hooded, Tim. Intuition transcends all rules. Exactly. Transcends everything. Okay, guys, let's set our goal for a creative project for next week. So everyone, write your week 4 goal in the chat, please. I'm gonna set mine on my bad hair day. Not really. I just don't have gel, so my hair is long and it would just fall down. it'll cover my eye and it's hard to see. So it's easier to have the beanie on. I'll have to bring Jill to the hospital. Ooh. That's our week 1 goal for me. My week 4 goals. My goal is going to be, let me think. So I'm gonna finish final mix on In the Morning single. So I want to finish In the Morning. I want to finish that song, do the final mix and master, and that's it. Like, I'm done with that song. That'll be it. Like, that song is done. And then I want to, let me think, my movie song. Finish writing the lyrics for that, I guess. I feel like I can do more in a week. Finish final lyrics. Now that I have a melody that I like, for movie song. Now that I have a melody that I like, I'm gonna write the first draft on Monday of my lyrics and then give it some time. I like to give some time and space for lyrics to like let them go, have some space, and then come back and see if I feel the same, and then change them accordingly. So I'll do that. Yeah, that would be my week goals. Can't wait to hear your next song. Your rock one to get stuck in my head. I made a joke about it being annoying, but it's very beautiful and heartfelt. That means a lot, Kurt. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I made that song for people like you who are going to listen to it. So thank you. No longer car song. No, I changed it to movie. It resonated more with. It might change. It's still a working title. It really is still a working title. Yeah. Still a working title. Journaling for sure. Being more in touch with my inner needs and maybe writing in my mother tongue and seeing how that goes. Yeah. What is your native language? Definitely. I mean, write. You don't have to write English just because it's like more common language. Obviously, it depends like what audience you want to reach. But definitely don't feel like you should. And if you genuinely want to, then don't think that you can't. Because it got stuck in my head. Yeah, no, that one, it's very repetitive, so I can see how that gets stuck in the head. Asino is very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. I spent a while mixing those vocals. Oh my God, months. Greek. Oh, that's beautiful. Greek. I want to learn how to speak Greek. Have you written songs in Greek? My goal is to finish my current chapter and start revising one of my short stories. Good. Nice. Finish current chapter and set up for Nano. And guys, I will say again, I think we'll shift at some point in these weekly workshops. I think we will shift in a sort of like setting a timeline for ourselves. Okay, we spent a few weeks setting goals, getting in the repetition. And I want to do a few weeks of, I think a few more weeks of these like weekly goals, seeing how we relate with these goals so that we can experience what it's like to set goals and then to not reach them or reach them and see what we learn. And then at some point we're going to set a timeline. Okay, like this is my timeline, a month or 2 months or 3 months or whatever to finish this project. So like if you want to make a film, maybe your timeline's 6 months. If you're making a song, maybe your timeline's a week or 2 weeks. Maybe you're super short like that. But we'll set timelines eventually so that then what we can do is create our weekly goals based off of the progress that we need to make over the course of a month or two or however long it will take to finish the project that we're doing. So yeah, exactly. Super serious mode. Yeah, so right now we're kind of experimenting with like, okay, what is it like to set goals, to reach them, and then we'll set like concrete deadlines for ourselves, and that's going to look like whatever for us. It's going to look like whatever. We might now we'll have more of a discussion at some point. Again, like in a few weeks, once we go through these workshops, we'll have discussion on where we want to go, because ultimately I want this to serve you guys. So I want it to be a mix of like what I think is best, and that's just like the direction I want to take you guys, but also like I want to hear what you guys want as well, because we need that kind of communication, and we all kind of feel out what's best. Personally, I think it would be nice to set like a collective timeline. So as opposed to like my timeline might be in 1 month, maybe someone else might be 2 months, or someone else might be 3 months. I think it might be more interesting if we set a collective timeline. Okay, everyone, let's do 1 month or 2 months, and then just set a different kind of project or goal for that. Seems like a lot. There's a lot of details, but we'll get into it for sure. We'll get more into it. But guys, set your weekly goals for next week, your weekly creative project goal, so that you have a target for yourself and that we're actually making sure that we're getting work done. I've set my goals, so I'm going to focus on those things with my music. Of course, I have other projects going on, other work, but I'm keeping it focused for the sake of this workshop, keeping it focused on one project at a time. Work every day on the gas factory POV and complete the narration of the rewritten POV of the origin, not saying name. Find more breakcore music and take proper break solitude. Nice, JDO. I would recommend JDO if you want to work I think that was my recommendation. If that resonates, then go with that. Writing every day, I think that would be really good, seeing the story come together. Just like maybe be conscious if you want to set like a timer or a schedule or a certain time that you want to write, just so that you can make sure that you're actually getting to it every day and you have a plan, as opposed to leaving it up in the air. Like eventually I'll get to it, which can work as well. It just do something that feels right. For example, with me, like with my script writing for my YouTube, like I like to have a set kind of time block for that. For my music, it's more intuitive. I kind of just do it when it feels right, and I follow when my spirit wants to create. So I have different methods for my different kind of areas of discipline, but whatever works for you. Throughout heaven and earth, I alone, I'm the honored one. Beautiful. Thank you for that. Heaven and earth, I alone, I'm the honored one. God bless. Timeline, ooh, super serious, get stuff done mode. Get it done. That's what we gotta do. A loose group because y'all keep me inspired and accountable. That's what this is all about. I'm happy to hear that. That's the power of community. And ultimately, the best thing we can do for ourselves or for each other is to remind each other of the power that all of us have within. Just do it. I would scream, just do it, but I'm in a public setting right now. Just do it. Just do it. This is the 4th creative workshop, y'all. Yes. We're doing good. I'm enjoying these a lot. It's a journey for sure, and it's a lot of work that we have to do on our own, but these are fun streams, and these are really nice. Really nice to just kind of, get these projects up and going. And then we kind of break off. It's literally like Jesus and the disciples, like he says, like, you will face tribulation, but take heart, I've overcome the world. It's like we break apart and we come together, break apart, come together. It's like a heartbeat. I've written a lot of things and actually posted a song in English, but not necessarily things that I'm exceptionally proud of. Things that you don't really like. I can get that. I get that. Definitely, it could be a challenge to see your things with pure eyes. Rick Rubin actually describes it as like your art is a gift, is a gift from God. Would you criticize a gift from God? And I like that way of looking at it, because it's a delicate balance between like looking at something and seeing, okay, like how can we go about changing this or changing the way we do things, but also not diminishing ourselves or hurting ourselves in the process. So all those things are tests of your patience with yourself. And if you can have more patience, you can hold more love for yourself. And the more love you can hold for yourself, the more authentic work you can produce. Throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one. I want to say thank you for these workshops. They forced me to take myself and my work more seriously. Good. I'm happy to hear that. I'm very happy to hear that. It's an honor to have all you guys on these workshops, because again, like time is one of the most precious currency that we have, because time gives us the ability to love and to work and to play and to breathe and to live. That's why I think, it is the most valuable thing that we have in this life. That's what Gandalf says. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. It's very true. That's all we have to decide. And the fact that we all spend a lot of time with each other in these times is really lovely, and And we have to use it wisely and use it consciously. And I'm happy that these give you guys fun and value and love and things to think about and things to meditate on. They always give me things to think about. And again, we're all mirrors. We're all mirrors for each other. So whatever resonates, that's what resonates, you know? Like something for me on this live stream, something that really clicked or something that I really loved. And I'm going to write it down. Pen doesn't work, but I wrote it down in the digital notebook on my laptop, and I'll write down my physical notebook once I get a different pen. But Kurt, when you said, you know, it's knowing when something is off, kind of just, yeah, it's just this idea of just knowing when something's off in your work and addressing it right away, as opposed to like letting that resistance win. It's like, okay, why is that deep resistance there? I love that. That's something huge that I'm learning and taking away. And I feel myself as like my inner creative is evolving and learning, you know, like in real time. As far as being super flaky, being slow with everything, pressure helps, breakcore, you got taste. Yeah, it's easier to just wing it, I guess. But then we need to implement action. That's what a lot of it is about. Great videos. Want to know how you bring that output? Can you explain me in 5 steps? Output for like work, getting work done. 5 steps. Interesting challenge. If you're talking about output with like work, like getting work done, I would say step 1, what do you want to make? So be clear on what you want to make. Because if you don't even know what you want to make, then it's going to be kind of difficult to go about it. Step 2, write it down. 1 phrase. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't get caught in the details. Write down like your goal. I want to make a film, or I want to make a YouTube video, and then write down your next step. And same thing, write it in 1 phrase. So step 3, write down your first step. Write it in 1 phrase because you don't want to overcomplicate it. So maybe write script for the YouTube video. And if it's like, you know, if it's like, if there's all these other steps you have to do, like research more about the idea or brainstorm ideas, don't worry about that. That's all included in write the script. So just write down your step, write the script. Step 4, repeat step 3 until you're done. You know, writing down your next step that you have to do. But again, try not to get too caught up in the details. Like write script, shoot film, or shoot video, edit video. And that's just for that example. But if it's making a film or writing a book, you know, it'll be different. It will look different. And then step 5, finish. And by finish, I mean actually get it done. Actually commit to finishing it, because we can get caught up with staying on something, leaving it on the back burner. One of the biggest things that we do as creatives and artists is we start things, but we don't finish. So step 5, make sure you actually finish, and just get it done. Maybe set a timeline or a deadline for yourself to get it done. And then once that deadline's up, it's done. Like it's out there in the world. But yeah, that's what I can think of on the spot for you. Most likely best time is in the morning at school or after my naps after school. In the middle of school is a rough time. Maybe after the naps. After the naps, see if there's an idea in your head. That's what Albert Einstein did, I believe. Taking naps and then waking up from them. And then what's the idea in your head right after that? Because in your naps, you come in contact with magical ideas. So maybe take a nap, wake up from it, and start writing in that inspo mode. Oh, thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Kurt. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Gratitude to you as well. Happy that we can help each other in this journey. That's what this is all about. I'm praying for you, Kurt, in the Kickstarter and the whole project that you're on. My standards in music so high. I want to feel like I'm transported to another world when I listen to music, or the music can be an event section in the story, rather than a repetitive melody with minor diversity parts. No shame to any song like that, just not my vibe in general. Nice. So glad that resonated, Tommy. Like I mentioned, you know, if something doesn't feel right, work purely from intuition, follow my inner guidance. As soon as I get into the flow, the problem tends to correct itself. See as my higher self knowing he needs to change something. Yep. For the same JDL, have you checked out DVI or music was a massive inspo for me when I first started creating my own story. Sometimes I like to listen to music from soundtracks of movies that feel like the thing that I'm making, whether it's like a story or a script, really. So like for my current script that I'm working on, I have a whole playlist I like to listen to when I brainstorm ideas. I'll sometimes listen to that because it has music that I like. Cosmos is the working title of the film, of the script that I'm writing, and I have my Cosmos playlist here on Spotify. I have things from Oppenheimer, Experience from Ludovico Inuado. I got Wonderwall in there. That's from Mommy 2014. Oh, it's in Mommy, movie from 2014. Got M83 on there. I got The Strokes on there, Radiohead, music from A Ghost Story, Amor Mio by Cristiano Ronaldo. You guys should listen to Cristiano Ronaldo's cover of Amor Mio. It's really good. And then I got Become the Warm Jets by Kurt Joways and some other songs on there as well. Yeah, I like to put together like a soundtrack of songs that feel like the thing that I'm making. Thank you, Kurt. I love Cosmos too. I got the idea from some quote that I read. Forget what it was. Something about Cosmos and order, and I was like, "Ooh, Cosmos! I love that." Game music, yes. I also, I love using game music as well. No pressure, but just reminding you again that I think contact will affect you as much as Interstellar. Yes, no. Don't worry about the pressure. I need that. I'm writing it down now in my note. I know it's just a matter of getting to everything. I have so many things different movies I want to get to. Right now, I'm watching Mr. Robot. So I'm watching that as just because it feels right. I want to watch it. I've been wanting to watch it for a while. Do that poetry. I read poetry books that are similar to my writing style. They get me in the zone. Start writing my own poetry. Nice. I want to do more poetry. I want to write more poems. I think they'll inspire me in nice ways. A story writer for sure. Yet the only book I truly read was Captain Underpants and Dogman. Yes, I think I will connect to themes as well. All that stuff, extraterrestrial stuff, that always resonates with the soul. So I know I'll get ideas. I'll get different things. My soul will get different things from that. All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap up the stream there. We have our goals for next week, so let's go get them. Let's go get those goals. Be conscious about cultivating our own relationship with these obstacles, because we need to be conscious about these obstacles. We have to deal with these individual obstacles that we have in our own artist journey. And right now, we're all learning different things. And as you learn different things, write them down. Be conscious of the progress that you're making. I have my goals for my songs, my music, so I'm going to get to that this week. And question of reflection. Thank you, JDO, for the reminder. Yes. Okay, who would like to propose this week's question of reflection that we'll answer next week? Does anyone have an idea? Anyone have a proposition for a question? JDO proposed a question last week. Beautiful question. Thank you again, JDO. Seeing progress, seeing the growth within yourself and progress with your project. Okay, let's go, JDO again. Are you finding your problems, issues from weeks ago fading away, or do you find them getting worse? Ooh. I like it. Me too. I was struggling with the question. Awesome poet I found is Joaquin's. Ooh, I'll write that down. Okay, I like that question. This week's question of reflection. I'll make the community post after the stream. Are you finding your problems, issues from weeks ago fading away, or do you find them getting worse? Or are you finding doing your work easier? Cool. I love it. Thank you, JDO. Cool. Let's reflect on this. Let's think about our problems. And I like to think about this too, of like, because for me, I noticed that like, it's weird. Sometimes a problem will seem like it's getting bigger, but it's actually getting smaller, because the reason it's getting bigger is because I'm getting stronger. And therefore the problem that I was facing before is getting smaller. It's weird. It's like a weird, like, juxtaposition. But yeah, that's what I love. Would you learn from your progress this past week? Ooh, I like that too. Let's write it down. I'll write that down for the questions of reflection. I'll put that in the community tab. Thank you, Imogen. Got a dip. Thank you all. Take care for your next time. Thank you, Kurt, so much. Thank you. Thank you much for joining the stream. Good to see and talk to you. Thank you, everyone, for joining the stream. Thank you so much for your time and your presence. I hope you guys are doing fabulous. I hope you guys are living consciously and spending the time the right way. Take some time today. I just feel called to tell you guys in the stream. Take some time today to just slow down for a bit, put away the noise, cut out the noise and the traffic and distractions, and just slow down for a bit. Maybe go outside, look at the sky, just be with yourself for I'm just asking you, just be with yourself for 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes. Just slow down. Let any thoughts that want to come up. Do a little reflecting on how you're living your life. That's all. Okay? And then whatever comes up will come up. Maybe write it down. Just think about it. I'm going to go do that actually right now after the stream. I'm going to go outside for like 5 or 10 minutes and just slow my mind down. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone. Resident Evil 4 is an incredible game. Oh my gosh. Good taste, JDO. All right, guys. Everyone, have an incredible week. I'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Okay? Get those goals, get that work done, and we will talk very, very soon. All right? Peace out, everyone. God bless. Dream on. Peace out.